Free grants. How does that sound? That is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And that grant, particularly I'm talking about, is the ECO scheme, which is the energy company's obligation. Now, this scheme has been running for quite a long time, but there's still so many properties in the UK that are yet to claim what's rightly theirs to better insulate their home. The government recommended standard of loft insulation is currently 270 millimetres. So you could be entitled to a grant to bring your insulation up to the new level under this scheme. Now, heat loss from a loft equates to about 25% of the heat loss from a property. For an uninsulated loft, so much of your heat is just rising straight out of your roof. It makes sense to insulate, and even more, if you're going to be looking at an alternative form of heating in the future, such as a heat pump, it is so important that we then better our insulation. And if there's funding out there that allows you to do that for free, why not make use of it? Pop onto the government website and have a look at available grants. Fill in some details about your property, age and current insulation levels, and it will then pre-generate an amount of grant that is available for you. You can then apply and use that grant to better insulate things like the loft or the wall insulation. Talking of walls, wall insulation can reduce 33% of the heat loss from your property. Now, any properties built pre-World War II, that's before 1939, won't have a cavity. They were usually built with solid walls or a very, very narrow cavity. Of course, insulation of the cavity effect is not going to do those properties any good. So solid wall insulation is something that will be available for those properties, and I'll come to that later. But now let's focus on the cavity wall insulation for properties that are built after 1945. So properties built after 1945 were built with two walls with a narrow cavity in the middle for air. Nowadays, when we're building these properties, we insulate that cavity at build. But it was common, to begin with, those cavities were left open. Cavity wall insulation is a way that we can fill that cavity, and it will be a much better insulator than air alone. And again, grants under the ECO scheme are available for cavity wall insulation, so make sure you check those out. For those of you in older properties with solid walls, there's also funding available for solid wall insulation, where they'll put insulation on either the exterior or interior wall and then clad over it on the outside. Again, jump on that government website and check out the grants available for solid wall insulation. As we move as a country towards net zero, it's going to be so important, and more important than ever, to ensure that we insulate our homes properly. Do it whilst the funding's available, save yourself some money and save yourself some energy.